When I first stepped aboard Atticus 2, I felt like I had never seen a more sturdy or beautiful blue water sailboat in my entire life. But from the very beginning, we knew that this very well-kept weekend cruiser would need a tremendous amount of work to turn her into the expeditionary vessel that we had envisioned she could become. And over the course of the last 2 years, we've made a huge amount of progress. We've installed lithium batteries, solar panels, and a high-output alternator. She now has protection from the elements, dinghy davits, a washing machine, and even internet. But there is still one thing that keeps us tethered to civilization. One thing that keeps us from flipping society the bird and heading out into the middle of nowhere. And that is fresh water. We have decided to install a water maker. That thing is sexy. We are going to delete this sink. We are gonna haul out. If she loses it, that's gonna shut down this whole operation.
That's me, and that's you. And we just hiked all the way up here to watch the sun rise over the water. Isn't that pretty? Yeah, it's so pretty, yeah. What do you think of our new home, bud?
I love it. I mean, it's like spitting distance from our boat, and yet it's a completely separate space, so I can just leave all my tools out. I'm so much more productive this way. When the power went out, I was, like so many of our experiences, I was devastated, right? And then in some insane way, this thing that I thought would be a really bad thing turned into like a really good thing for us, you know? That's it, baby. You gotta understand, that's the thing about life. Things that are really bad sometimes are actually kind of good. All right, so today I'm taking a break from boat projects and I'm gonna do something that I am super pumped about. I've been wanting to do for a long time, and that is that I'm going to go get a swallow tattoo. When it comes to sailing and sailors, there's all kinds of traditional tattoos, and swallows are what you can get after you've sailed 5,000 nautical miles. And another reason that I wanted to get this tattoo is, I haven't really talked about this in the videos yet, but exactly 1 year ago, I actually quit drinking. So it was actually the week before we found out that Desiree was pregnant with Isabella. So kind of to celebrate the crossing, to celebrate Isabella being born in my new life as a dad, and to celebrate my first year without drinking and sobriety, I decided to get a tattoo. So I'm gonna head off and do that now. Okay, I'm in.
Yeah?
I'm ready. I don't want to speak too soon, but I'm surprised at how little pain there is for this part.
Good.
Is that normal for this like area?
Yeah, it's usually quite painful there.
Is that right?
So yeah, you're doing very good.
It's just the adrenaline. I'm like so pumped. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Professional.
That is awesome. I am so pumped about that. Ah, thank you, Rebecca. This is great. So, if you haven't guessed it yet, we have decided to install a water maker. We've decided with the Spectra Catalina 340C compact version, which, if you're keeping track, is the exact same model that Sailing Uma installed on their boat. And there's good reason for that. The unit can produce up to 14 gallons of fresh water per hour, and that's only using 18 amps at 12 volts. Basically, it takes less electricity to produce 1 gallon of water than almost any other water maker that I've heard of, which means that most of the time we can probably keep up with our fresh water usage using just the electricity that we get from our solar panels. Another thing that I really like about this water maker in particular is that other water makers can be really loud when they're running, and this one is really quiet, which makes a huge difference, because if you're trying to produce all of the fresh water that you use all of the time, day in and day out, you gotta run the water maker quite a bit. And if it's super loud and annoying, that's just gonna suck if you're running that thing all the time. And finally, it has a lot of automated features, which is kind of a drawback to some people. Like, some people want a really, really simple water maker, and I can understand the reasons for that. But The thing I like about this system is that it automatically flushes the system with fresh water after every single use. Ultimately, salt water is the reason for so many of the machinery and equipment failure that we have on the boat. So to me, that means the system will probably be more maintenance free in the long term. Now, we did have a water maker on the boat before, right? We had the Rain Man portable water maker. And that thing was great because we didn't have the time to install a permanent water maker before our Atlantic crossing. The Rain Man can be turned into a permanent installation, but I had a few issues with the Rain Man. First of all, it was really loud. Second of all, it wasn't terribly efficient, and it was kind of time consuming to do freshwater flushes. So for all those reasons, we are switching to the Spectra, and it's time to get the installation started. So the first step in this water maker installation, real quick, check out that bad boy. Oh, that thing is sexy. So the first step is I'm going to work on the area where I'm going to install these two things. So this is the Z-Ion filter and freshwater flush system, and then this is the feed pump. These two things are the things that I'll need access to the most because I'm going to change these filters quite often. And so the location that I came up with for both of these are right here in the V-berth. As you can see, V-berth, total mess also. But over here, this sink, I don't think we have ever once used this sink. Personally, I think that V-berth sinks are just the most silly thing ever, especially in a relatively small V-berth like this. It's like, who wakes up and is like, ah, yes, I want to brush my teeth right here. Like, why not walk the 10 feet to that sink over there? You know what I mean? We are going to delete this sink, and under here in this compartment, this is gonna become like the water maker compartment, or at least this is where most of the extremities are going to exist. So I'm going to remove this sink so that we have plenty of space in this compartment, and then mount these two components. So, you may be wondering what the heck these things even do. So, this system uses an extremely efficient design to create the high pressure that you need to push salt water through the membranes of a water maker to produce fresh water. Now, most water makers use kind of like a brute force approach to creating that high pressure. They use high pressure pumps that require a lot of electricity, that are really noisy, and the whole system is like super pressurized, so there can be kind of catastrophic failures. This system uses a Clark pump. What it does is it takes 80 PSI from this pump right here, the feed pump in here, and the Clark pump kind of takes that 80 PSI and then like packs it away. And then this pushes another 80 PSI, and then the Clark pump's able to build on top of that. So it's like it adds 80 to 80 and creates 160, and then this pump adds 80 again, and then boom, you get 240. And so the Clark pump is able to kind of take and keep the pressure that it gets from this feed pump and build on it until eventually it builds up to high pressure. So what we've got in here now is that feed pump. You've got this, which is the Z-Ion. What this does, it actually like ionizes the fresh water that goes through the system, that flushes the system. So whereas just normal straight fresh water sitting in the whole system, it could last about a week before you'd want to flush it again, because you'll start to get living things like growing in the fresh water. The Z-Ion system ionizes that water, which basically makes that fresh water less habitable for like algae and the living stuff that grows in it. So it makes it so that you can basically not have to flush for at least 30 days. And I've been told that you could even push it for longer, which is super awesome, because if we're just gonna haul out for a month or two, we won't have to pickle our entire system. We can just flush the system like normal, and then for like a month or two be good to go, and then use it again. Now the next thing that we've got to do is we've got to mount this thing. So this is the boost pump. This is what's going to take raw water from the intake seacock and push it to the feed pump, and then it's got this sea strainer here to get rid of like the really large particles that are coming in, and that is going to go right below me. right, so now the boost pump is in place. So pretty much all of the external components other than the Clark pump and the membranes here are installed. Now this whole assembly is gonna go way up forward below the V-berth, way in this compartment here. But to be able to mount it in there, I'm gonna have to build and glass in a really robust, strong shelf in there. And so that's gonna be a bit of a process, and it's not gonna happen today. So I'm gonna call it quits for today. Okay, you all set, baby? Give mommy a kiss.
My kitty button. You have fun with Dad, okay? You want her sunglasses?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Where are they? Oh my gosh, I forgot we have the sunglasses.
Ready, lady?
Oh my God. Oh my God, that's so amazing.
There you go, lady. Looking cool.
Hey, Issa, let's do this. Okay. So Issa and Oso and I are off on our morning routine. We do this every single morning. We go for a walk for about an hour. That way, Desiree gets a chance to get a little more sleep. She can cook some breakfast if she wants. And Oso gets a walk in, and Isabella gets to explore a little bit of the world. Issa fell asleep. She's looking a little bit like Weekend at Bernie's.
Here we go. Oh, that's ready. Hi, Bernie.
All right, so when she falls asleep, I end up like flipping her so that she doesn't kink her neck like this. See if we can do this without waking her up. Okay. Okay, little Weekend at Bernie's. There you go. So we're allowed to have our boat here in the European Union for up to 18 months before we would have to pay VAT or import tax if we wanted to keep it here longer. Now the good news is we just have to leave for just a short time and then we can come right back boat-wise. So our plan is to head to Greece this summer, and then before our 18 months is up, we're gonna head to Turkey, which is outside of the EU, and that'll reset the boat's clock for the EU. Plus, Turkey has some incredible cruising grounds. I'm so extremely excited to explore that country. And that's why we've been starting to learn Turkish using the sponsor of today's video, Babbel, one of the top language learning apps in the world. When we arrive in a new country, things are so much easier for us if we've already learned a handful of key phrases, such as Günaydın, Nasılsın, and Benim Jordan. And it's been kind of a whirlwind for us having to try to learn so many different languages since sailing to Europe. And that's why it's so important to us that Babbel focuses on what really matters. At the end of the day, practical, real-life conversations. And Babbel's lessons are designed by real language teachers to prepare you to converse about travel, business, relationships, and more. Marhaba. All right, nailed it. Learning a new language is the perfect goal for 2023. So click on the link in the description below or scan this QR to get 60% off your subscription. And make sure you let us know in the comments what language you're hoping to learn. All right, well, today I am taking a break from trying to install the water maker and deal with this gigantic mess in the boat because we got our new BMS in, which is very, very exciting because we will have power again. Our neighbor was kind enough to let us stay on his boat until we haul out 1 week from now, even if we get our electronics up and running. So it's very kind of him because it would be a little hard for us to live in this total mess. And that's right, we are hauling out soon. We are going to be installing a through hull for the water maker, so we got to haul out for that, but it's time for us to slap on some new bottom paint, and I've got a couple other projects that we want to do. Hopefully we'll only be hauled out for like 2 weeks. Hopefully. Anyway, today I'm going to basically just swap out the old BMS and put in the new one. I'm hoping it'll be relatively simple. I mean, the cables are really big, so that's one issue, but really it should just be kind of unplug the one, remove it, plug in the new one, and hopefully it works. Off. So all that's left is this connector here, and to get that connector off, because of all the tension that these giant cables are giving it, I need to remove the BMS, and then I can undo that. Oh, how funny. So all those screws are out and it literally holds itself up just because these cables are so stiff. Get this over here, pull the cables a little. Hey, nice, there we go. So that was easy. Fingers crossed, putting the new one in is just as easy. And here we go. So everything's plugged in, everything's secured. Now the last step before we just turn everything on and see how it goes is I gotta remove this jumper cable that's jumping the load bus and the charge bus that we were using so that the start bank could work. So I'm just gonna remove that and then we should be good to go. Okay, so jumper is removed and everything is set. Ugh, I'm so nervous. I'm going to push this button, and if this BMS turns on and we don't get an alarm, that'll be very, very good. I'm gonna start us off very slow, so like there's no electrical stuff is connected right now. Okay, very good. That's what we wanna hear. All right, let's start turning things on, see how it goes. So we've got voltage to the panel. That is very good. Now we're gonna turn this on. Yes, yes. Let's boil some water. All right, that little teeny light is on. It's doing it, making a noise. I think we did it. Right there, that means that we have power. We are back, baby. Anyway, yeah, back to the water maker. So, one last thing I need to do in here, and that is that the Precision 9 compass for the autopilot is still way back here, like behind the feed pump. That's not a good place for it anymore because there's a motor in this feed pump that's all metal, and that's all bad stuff for that compass. It's gonna make the readings inaccurate. So I'm gonna remove that compass and get that NMEA cable out. I guess if I was smart, I would have removed this before I installed all this crap. Okay, yeah, so there you have it. So I just gotta remove the bracket and then we can move the whole thing. Okay, so where I wanna actually mount this compass is actually not far from its original spot. It's right down here below this drawer. There's a drawer that goes in here. I'm just gonna mount it just below. It's close to the water line. It's center lined in the boat. It's not too far from the middle of the ship, fore and aft, so I think it'll be a good spot. I think that should work. So now I've just got to pull the cable back a ways from where it's been run and then start to run it in a new direction to this position. Nice. Wow, there is going to be just enough cable to get there. So that's good. We're good to go with the compass. Okay, so today, oh shit, I gotta be quiet. Uh-oh, did I wake you up, baby? I'm sorry. Go back to sleep, baby, go back to sleep. So today is the day. We are gonna haul out at Manuel Island Yacht Yard. It's not far away from here. It's like 45 minutes away, even less probably. But you may remember that we kind of had an epic fail trying to move the boat for the first time with Isabella a couple weeks ago when we tried to fuel up. So today we're actually gonna have a friend of ours come to give us a hand just in case Desiree isn't able to help. But the plan is going to be that we're gonna put Isabella in her car seat, and that is now connected securely so that it won't go anywhere. I was able to tie it to like that wood piece back there. So this is basically going to be attempt number 2 to figure out how on earth we're going to move this boat with a baby on board. You feel good? You ready to move the boat? Yeah, I think that was the main thing we learned last time was we just need to be able to see her. Because if she's crying but nothing's wrong, then no big deal. But if she's down there and crying, it's like who knows what's going on and we can't relax. Okay, you ready to do this? Good baby. Yeah, good job. Let's do this.
You got dirty diaper, Missy. You're getting so big.
It's funny because the idea of sailing with a baby is something that I'm starting to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
But there's something about the fact that we're about to take the boat to a boatyard with the baby that I'm just like, oh God.
For me, I like close my eyes and think of the word boatyard, and it's like dirt and grit and just like harsh, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm excited to have an Airbnb that we can stay at. Issa and I are gonna get there, get our stroller, get gone.
Yeah, get out.
Yeah, you're my excuse to leave the boatyard.
All right, so our buddy and crew member Daniel is here. What's going on, Daniel?
Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm a sailor from Panama, and I'm here with Sailing Atticus.
Yeah, so what brought you to Malta, man? Well, first of all, how did we meet? That was so like random.
So I was in the hospital getting checked for my migraines. I went through the elevator, I came through and I saw Sailing Atticus, both of you there.
Yeah, we were at the doctor's like every other day for a while there. So anyway, yeah, that was super serendipitous. Yeah, it's cool to meet you. So you said what brought you here, the sailing?
Yeah, for sailing and studying, just finishing up high school.
And what kind of sailing are you doing?
I'm doing laser sailing and RS Viva, but I'm also a sailing coach here at the sailing school.
So how old are you?
I'm 18.
Damn, dude. You're one adventurous 18-year-old.
Yeah.
Man. And you're born and raised in Panama City?
Yeah, so all my family's from Panama and I've been raised my whole life there.
That's so cool. That's so crazy that we were so close to you for years, right? And then we meet here in Malta. Well, thanks so much for your help, dude. This is gonna be fun.
All right, getting ready to move the boat. Baby's in her little seat.
Hi, baby. It's okay. Yeah, good girl. Yeah, you're being so good. Hey, bud, can you look out for traffic on the bow? Okay, so far so good with Isabella.
All right, well, that wasn't too bad. Issa's in a great mood. There's not a lot of wind. Got great crew on board. Now on to the boatyard. Fingers crossed, nothing weird happens. Timing-wise, Issa is in her happy mood. Everything's going well so far.
Although I will say there was a couple times where she like started to kind of cry, and I just thought to myself like, man, if she loses it, like that's gonna shut down this whole operation. Going forward, we're gonna have to try to like, in that 10-minute window where we actually leave the dock, hope that she doesn't lose it. So what do you think, Daniel? You wanna have a baby now?
Too early.
She's just watching me.
Daniel, what kind of work have you been doing on boats lately?
When I was 16, I started working on charter catamarans.
Yeah.
So it was day charters to the islands. They let me pass as a deckhand. Then I got up to bosun. Plus, I had my boat that was also fixing up at the same time. So
That's so cool. And you say you did charters on your boat too? Like
Yeah.
day charters?
So do day charters in Panama City.
As like a teenager?
Yeah.
That's so cool, because I've always thought that working on boats is awesome, but it's the best if you can start when you're young. I mean, that's how you really make a cool career, is if you start early. So the yard asked that we back the boat into the haul-out slip, and I hate backing this boat into anything. With a long keel, large skeg, and no bow thruster, there's nothing I can really do to keep our bow from falling off to leeward or downwind. So I have to start backing towards my objective with the bow further to windward than I'd like, and then let it fall off as I slowly back up towards the slip, with the goal of entering the slip just as the bow falls into position. It's a tricky balancing act, and one that I did not do very well here, as I basically T-boned the leeward corner of the slip. But Daniel was able to wedge in a fender before we hit the dock, and so luckily no damage was done.
We're here. Yeah, we made it. We're here. So they're telling us we need to take the Genoa off.
So basically they were saying for liability reasons, they don't want Genoas on furlers because if they get a strong gust, it can unfurl.
Oh, I see.
And then it could like push the boat over. You want to do now before we move?
No.
Oh, we move
Move
and then sails. All right, here comes the baby.
precious cargo.
Yeah, I know.
That's right.
It's going to drop the baby.
Precious cargo.
All right, so you're out of here, buddy?
All right, yep, me and the baby. She's been doing so good.
How you like the boatyard,
What do you think of all these boats, huh?
That is so funny, man.
she's just
Boatyard
like,
baby.
But yeah, I'm gonna let you and Daniel do all the hard work.
Okay, sounds
Thank you
good.
so much for all your help. I really appreciate it. That would have been like so much more stressful without you.
Okay, ready? We did it! All right, Daniel, thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate the help, dude. I feel like the next time I see you, you are gonna be the captain of like a 300-meter freaking super yacht.
Yeah, probably a big sailboat, some super yacht sailboat.
Okay, cool, dude. That'll be awesome. Let me know when you need help.
Yeah.
Well, this will be a good evening walk with Osa. Uh-oh, Osa's gone rogue. Malta keeps sort of astounding me because you can feel like you're in the middle of this super dense urban situation, and then you'll have some like ruin of a giant old fortress.
If this structure existed in the United States, there'd be like gates around it, it'd be pristine.
It'd be a really big deal. And here it's like, we haven't really done anything with this
Like,
yet.
That 1,000-year structure, well, we haven't gotten around to it yet.
Right, totally. Can you get in? You want to try and knock?
These look pretty solid.
What do you think, baby? Is that a nice castle? All right, we should get going. We gotta go get our stuff.